Good afternoon and welcome to TVM News. Today is Friday, March 1st. I'm Justin Kaharski filling in for Ashlyn Jess.
And I'm Stephanie O'Malley. This week we'll tell you about the Scranton School District's financial recovery plan.
We also have updates on President Trump's summit with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un.
And we'll check in with TVM sports anchor Shannon Wood to find out the latest in Marywood sports. The Master of Business Administration program earned a top ranking last week. Marywood's program came in at 47 on Study.com's list of the top 50 MBA programs nationwide. Study.com is a website that tries to make higher education more accessible by sharing information. Study.com compiled the list based on criteria including academic and career resources, the quality of education, and faculty.
Representatives from a regional airline made a stop on campus yesterday. The aviation management program hosted representatives from Republic Airways who shared career information with students. Republic partners with American Airlines, Delta, and United.
The Global Unity Club hosted an event called Noche Dominicana on Wednesday. TVM's Kirsten Wilson has the details.
The Global Unity Club celebrated Dominican Day in the Fireplace Lounge of Nazareth Hall. The club hosted the event to honor the Dominican Republic's Independence Day on February 27th. Students who attended enjoyed food, danced to music, and took part in crafts and activities. Senior art education major Gabrielle Mitchell shares why it's important for the club to bring cultural events to campus.
I think the Global Unity Club tried to touch on all the events that we could incorporate as much as possible on campus to expose the students to different cultures and things like that. And especially since Dominican Day is very small here because there's not a lot of diversity, I thought it would be a great opportunity for share to other people and the community.
Junior environmental biology major Serena Swanson shares the importance of diversity at Marywood.
It has to be in your face for you to see it. So with events like this that are in such a public space, people are able to actually see the other cultures that are on campus and immerse themselves in it, learn a little bit about them, learn about their food, see like who on campus would know the best because they're normally the ones that come here. So you get to meet new people.
From TVM News, I'm Kirsten Wilson.
There's a new club on campus. Dota 2 is a multiplayer online battle arena video game that's been making waves in esports. Club members will be competing in mini scrimmages just for fun. The Dota 2 club welcomes all students regardless of gamer experience.
The new exhibit in the Sriracha Gallery is hoping to take flight. I was there for opening night. The art exhibit on display in the Sriracha Gallery is much more than it seems. Migration is an installation in the Sriracha Gallery of 300 ceramic birds and steel trees by a Marywood student. The exhibit might seem just like random birds sitting in trees, but artist Betsy Kleinsaucer explains the deeper meaning behind it.
It's basically the story of my family, the way we moved through different communities, leaving the one I grew up and then moving through and creating our new community, I guess, where we are now. And I decided to use birds just because I always love birds and they're so expressive. So it's our story told in birds, essentially.
Each tree in the exhibit shows a different time for Betsy's family. The first tree shows how her family was shunned from their community, and the broken branch on the floor shows them all alone. The next shows Betsy's family dealing with her sister's cancer and her sister's eventual death. The white dove in all the trees afterward symbolizes this family member. The last trees show the family branching out and meeting new friends, seen by the colorful birds surrounding the family. This exhibit will run from now until March 8th. For TVM News, I'm Stephanie O'Malley.
A world-renowned mentalist will be a part of SAC's latest event. Mentalist and illusionist Wayne Hoffman will showcase his talents tonight on campus at 7 p.m. Hoffman has been featured on Ellen, America's Got Talent, and other programs. He will perform in the Latour Room.
Peers on Wellness hosted its annual Perfectly Imperfect Week over the past few days. The events helped educate students on issues related to body positivity. The week started off with Mirrorless Monday, which encouraged students to take a break from looking at themselves in mirrors. On Wellness Wednesday, students learned how to develop a healthy relationship with their bodies. The week ended on Thursday with a showing of the documentary Embrace.
Marywood's Educational Technology Services, or ETS, will host a Technology Accessibility Series this spring. ETS Presso is a is a trio of one-hour workshops offering resources to help with documents, presentations, and lessons. These workshops will be held March 7th, March 29th, and April 25th. Each workshop will begin at 2:30 p.m.
The Music Therapy Club hosted an afternoon of advocacy and music last weekend. The students performed songs for the public to encourage interest in music therapy. The audience was able to make its own instruments and talk with the music therapy students.
Some special visitors made a stop at Marywood last week. Several Fulbright scholars came to campus to share insights with criminal justice students. The presentation was organized through the Outreach Lecturing Fund of the U.S. Fulbright program. The fund gives scholars the opportunity to lecture beyond their host intuition.
When we come back, we'll bring you local news, including an update on this disabled Walmart greeter who may lose his job.
Planning the right amount of food is hard. The Guestimator makes it easy. Just tell it who's coming and what's for dinner. Then it tells you how much to make. And yes, it even plans for leftovers. Try it at SaveTheFood.com.
Hi, I'm Peter. And there's nothing I love more than sharing vegetables with my friends.
Come on in! Help yourself to anything.
That's why we give our food the utmost respect it deserves. Did you know there are simple steps we can all take to help save food? You can cook it, store it, even share it. Just don't waste it. Because when it comes to food, better ate than never. To learn more, visit SaveTheFood.com.
Titans go!
When the Teen Titans go to the movies, they know the best way to travel is safely. To keep your child safe, be sure to use the right car seat for their age and size.
Exactly.
Hollywood, here we come! The Atom has arrived! Have a seat, my dude.
For more information on finding the right seat, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Impressive.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Disaster tips from the objects left behind.
My home wasn't insured, but you can check your insurance policy now to make sure you're covered. Oh.
My savings are lost, but you can put money aside and plan for unexpected disaster costs.
We're lost forever, but you can scan important documents now so they survive. Whoa.
For more tips on how to prepare, visit ready.gov.
A former Lackawanna County prison guard entered a plea deal last Thursday. Jeffrey Staff was originally charged with a felony count of institutional sexual assault for having sex with an inmate on work release back in 2010. In a deal with prosecutors, Staff pled no contest to a misdemeanor and was sentenced to 9 months probation. Staff also agreed to never look for work in corrections or law enforcement.
Lackawanna County approved a 10-year tax abatement for Scranton. The county is the third and final taxing body to approve this local economic revitalization tax assistance program, also known as LRTA. This means residents can build or expand on city homes and developers can erect new buildings in the city without having to pay property taxes on the new additions or improvements for 10 years.
Students in the Dunmore School District will now benefit from additional federal funding. The school board voted unanimously to convert Dunmore into a Title I district. Title I provides financial assistance to districts with high numbers or high percentages of children from low-income families. Next school year, Dunmore will be able to use more than $500,000 to improve programs across the district. Dunmore's Title I coordinator, Michelle Coquindo, said this will upgrade the entire educational program.
About 1 month after the Scranton School District entered financial recovery, an advisory committee has still not been formed. District officials say forming one will take more time. Seeing the district's growing deficit, the State Department of Education placed the school system in financial recovery and appointed Dr. Candace Finan as Chief Recovery Officer. Dr. Finan expects to present a plan this spring to help move the district towards a debt-free future.
Abington Little League will continue to be left in the dark. The Glenburn Township Zoning Board decided not to approve putting lights on the league field due to neighbors' complaints. The Little League first brought up this issue in 2012. To further complicate matters, Glenburn sold one of the fields used by the league. The league will now have to limit its number of registrants for the first time this season. Abington Little League president Ryan Mitvalsky said if the league had been approved for lights, it would mean more playing time.
A verdict has been reached in a year-long investigation into the death of a Scranton woman. A jury found Ryan Taylor guilty of involuntary manslaughter in the drowning death of Danae Maurer. The jury spent nearly 4 hours in deliberations and rejected the prosecutor's request for a verdict of first or third-degree murder. Taylor had pleaded guilty to third-degree murder last May, but was allowed to withdraw the plea in November. Taylor faces a maximum sentence of 2.5 to 5 years in prison. After the verdict was read, Taylor was taken back to the Lackawanna County Prison. A sentencing date has not yet been decided.
2 West Scranton parents were charged with the death of their 1-year-old daughter. The girl was found unresponsive last August after the air conditioner in her room overheated. Police say the air conditioner was improperly installed, which caused it to heat the room instead. Police said the child's mother, Mary Cole, didn't check on her or her brother for 14 hours. The parents turned themselves in last Thursday and are charged with counts of involuntary manslaughter and reckless endangerment.
Scranton Medical College opened a food pantry for its future doctors last week. Cabinets in the Geisinger Commonwealth School of Medicine are now filled with non-perishable foods, including pasta, soup, and peanut butter. The faculty and staff began stocking the cabinets in November so students could focus on their studies instead of worrying about their next meal. The students can pay a visit to the cabinet whenever they can't afford to eat.
A Snyder County Walmart is in hot water. The customers at the Sealands Grove store are angry that a disabled greeter could lose his job. Adam Catlin has worked for the store for more than a decade. The store manager told Catlin his job description was changing and would now include tasks Catlin is unable to do. After Catlin's mother posted about it online, customers of the store and even strangers became outraged at Walmart. Walmart originally gave greeters 60 days to find another job in the company, but because of the uproar, the company has extended the deadline indefinitely for greeters with disabilities.
After the break, we'll bring you national news on Michael Cohen's testimony before Congress.
When the Teen Titans go to the movies, they know the best way to travel is safely. To keep your child safe, be sure to use the right car seat for their age and size.
Exactly. Hollywood, here we come! The Atom has arrived! Have a seat, my dude.
For more information on finding the right seat, visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
Impressive.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Let me tell you about the toughest guy on earth. He has the crazy strength to lift the man that raised him up without even flinching. This guy, this warrior, will always be by his father's side, even if his dad will hardly remember. If this guy isn't the toughest guy on the planet, then I don't know who is. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
President Donald Trump says he's chosen a nominee to be the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. Trump shared his choice of Kelly Craft on Twitter. Kraft is now U.S. Ambassador to Canada, and Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell recommended her for the position. If confirmed by the Senate, Kraft will become the Trump administration's second UN ambassador. Nikki Haley resigned the post last year.
Wednesday marked the second summit featuring President Trump and North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un. The meeting in Vietnam kicked off with the two shaking hands in front of the International Press Corps at the Metropole Hotel. Trump said he hopes this summit will help strengthen the relationship of the two countries while working towards denuclearization. But in the end, both parties walked away from the summit, having not reached a deal.
While President Trump was abroad, his former lawyer, Michael Cohen, testified before Congress. During his testimony, Cohen accused Trump of being a racist and a con man. He also presented a $35,000 check from Trump allegedly given to Cohen as reimbursement for hush money payments to cover up an alleged affair between Trump and porn star Stormy Daniels. However, Cohen admitted his limited knowledge about the president's relationship with Russia.
Questions have been raised about whether I know of direct evidence that Mr. Trump or his campaign colluded with Russia. I do not. And I want to be clear, but I have my suspicions.
Cohen was sentenced to 3 years in prison in early December for a series of tax fraud and lying charges.
A U.S. Coast Guard lieutenant is accused of plotting to kill politicians and journalists. Christopher Hassan was arrested last week on illegal drug and firearm charges. Along with more than a dozen firearms, investigators said he also had components used to make untraceable ghost guns. After Hassan's arrest, President Trump denied any comments he made played a role in Hassan's actions.
I think it's a shame. Yeah, I think it's a very sad thing when a thing like that happens, and I've expressed that, but I'm actually getting a very complete briefing in about 2 hours.
Do you think that you bear any responsibility for moderating your language when it comes to that?
No, I don't. I think my language is very nice.
U.S. Magistrate Judge Charles Day ordered Hassan be detained while awaiting trial. Hassan's attorneys plan to go back to court in 14 days to fight the detention order if he is not charged with any further criminal activity.
Venezuelan citizens are taking to the streets to protest alleged corruption within their government. This comes after U.S. Vice President Mike Pence unveiled new sanctions against Venezuelan government officials on Monday. The moves target 4 governors for endemic corruption and blocking the delivery of humanitarian aid. Pence also called for other nations to freeze the assets of Venezuela's state-owned oil company and to transfer ownership to opposition leader Juan Guaido. Guaido has been recognized as a legitimate president by over 50 countries who say the re-election of the country's president, Nicolas Maduro, last year was a sham.
The former Vatican treasurer was found guilty in Australia of sexually assaulting children. Cardinal George Pell is the highest-ranking Catholic figure to be convicted in the ongoing church scandal. A jury found Pell had abused 2 choir boys in Melbourne's cathedral in 1996. Pell is considered the 3rd most powerful official in the Vatican. His trial was heard twice last year due to the fact that the first jury failed to reach a verdict. A second jury unanimously convicted him of 1 charge of sexually penetrating a child under 16 years old and 4 counts of committing an indecent act on a child under 16 years old. The verdict was handed down in December, but not released until now due to legal reasons.
The father of a so-called ISIS bride is suing the Trump administration after it said the woman isn't a U.S. citizen. Hoda Muthana was born when her father, Ahmed, was working in the U.S. on a diplomatic visa. U.S. law does not grant children of diplomats birthright citizenship. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo spoke out against allowing Muthana to re-enter the country, calling her a terrorist. The U.S. has not formally charged her with any crime.
The lawyers for the longtime leader of Mexico's Sinaloa drug cartel will seek a new trial after reports that jurors in El Chapo's initial trial were following media coverage of the proceedings. Last week, El Chapo, whose real name is Joaquin Guzman, was convicted of drug trafficking, weapons violations, and operating a continuing criminal enterprise. The last charge has the potential to send him to jail for life. Attorneys say they will seek a new trial based on the disclosures in media coverage. They will also request a hearing to determine the extent of the jurors' misconduct.
Pinterest continues to block vaccination-related content from its search engines. A spokesperson for the site says this move was made to stop the spread of misinformation. The spokesperson explained most of the posts about vaccinations were against it, which contradicts medical advice. Pinterest confirms it has been blocking these searches since last year.
The legal team for President Trump's former campaign manager is asking for a lighter sentence. Paul Manafort was convicted of 8 counts of bank and tax fraud in August. These counts carry a maximum of 80 years in prison. In the nearly 50-page memo, Manafort's lawyers cited the 69-year-old's age and severe gout among reasons why he should be given a reduced sentence. The memo did not dispute his guilt.
Up next, we'll check in with TVM sports anchor Shannon Wood to see how the men's rugby team did in last weekend's tournament.
This is the story of a boy who is very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help. And slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
I dare you. I dare you to change the world. Yeah, you. Getting that college education.
I dare you to be somebody important.
Like be a teacher. Or a reality TV star.
I dare you to stand up here.
To call the shots.
To be a role model.
An inspiration. An innovator.
To be a teacher.
Think you can change my life? Make me excited about science like you?
Have a career that really means something?
Then do it.
I dare you.
Thanks for tuning in. Let's check in with TVM sports anchor Shannon Wood for Marywood Sports. So Shannon, what's our men's rugby team up to?
Well, Justin, they didn't do too well in last weekend's tournament.
Oh, really? Tell us more.
On Saturday, the Marywood men's rugby team hosted the inaugural NEPA Sevens tournament. This marked the first 7 games in the program's history. The Pacers were unable to secure a victory, losing all 4 matches to University of Scranton, King's College, William Patterson, and Susquehanna University. They will play again tomorrow when they travel to Hempfield High School in Lancaster to compete in the Frostbite tournament. Earlier this week, the Pacers track team traveled to New York for the Armory Last Chance meet. It was the final regular season contest for the team, and 3 Pacers set new school records. Freshman Julia Van Horn finished the 500 at 1 minute, 24.58 seconds, taking 4th place. Junior Nate Strutsky took 5th and set the record in the 1,000 with a time of 2 minutes, 40.68 seconds. And sophomore Jared Barchak set the record in the 500 and took 7th place, finishing in 1 minute, 9.45 seconds. The Pacers returned to the Armory today for the Atlantic East Championships. The baseball team opened its season on the road with a doubleheader last Sunday, losing both games to Mount St. Mary, 5-0 and 4-3. The team will play another doubleheader tomorrow, hosting Albright College. The women's lacrosse team opened its season last weekend with a debut win for Coach Carrie Brown against Farmingdale State. Junior Gwyneth Gleason finished the game with a career-high 7 goals and forced 6 turnovers. Gleason has been named Atlantic East Defensive Player of the Week for the week ending February 24th. Monday's game was postponed due to high winds. The men's team secured its first win over Wilkes University last Thursday. Sophomore Patrick Dingwell scored the game-winning goal in the last 55 seconds of the second overtime period, defeating Wilkes 8-7. Following a tragic car accident involving Syracuse University's basketball coach Jim Boeheim, ESPN canceled its trip to the Carrier Dome for the college game day program featuring the Syracuse-Duke game. Instead of broadcasting live from the Dome, ESPN used its Bristol, Connecticut studios. The accident resulted in the death of 51-year-old Jorge Jimenez. Boeheim's car struck Jimenez, who had left his vehicle after pulling over on the freeway following a previous accident. Boeheim is not being charged at this time, and he has fully cooperated with authorities. His blood alcohol content was 0. Before the game on Saturday, Syracuse honored Jimenez with a moment of silence, announcing the tribute in both English and Spanish. Boeheim received a standing ovation from fans as he walked onto the court before the game. Steelers wide receiver Antonio Brown has officially asked the team for a trade. The news comes after the 30-year-old player tweeted a farewell to Steelers fans. The trade request has been expected since Brown failed to show up to practice the day before the season finale against the Cincinnati Bengals. The Steelers and Brown have not released details about the trade, but the Steelers reportedly prefer to send Brown to an NFC team for competitive reasons. Brown wants guaranteed money as part of any deal. That's it for sports. Back to the desk.
Thanks, Shannon. Starting June 26th, Uber will be offering the transportation option of Uber boats for Croatian travelers. The reason for launching these Uber boats is to offer residents and tourists a service while traveling from island to island in Croatia, also emphasizing travel to the airport in Split.
Well, that's certainly an interesting way to travel. Justin, what kind of boat would you want your Uber to be?
You know, Steph, I think I'd prefer like a nice yacht. Just like a nice big private yacht.
Well, who wouldn't?
Well, that's going to do it for this week's edition of TVM-News. From all of us at TV-Marywood, thanks for tuning in.
Be sure to follow TV-Marywood's YouTube page and like the TVM Facebook page to stay up to date on the latest happenings and to watch additional content. I'm Stephanie O'Malley.
And I'm Justin Kaharski. We'll see you after spring break.